So I think we need to have a serious conversation about the full body split, because while most people are familiar with PPL, bro split, maybe even upper lower after watching my video, I do still believe the full body split is a very slept on and underrated workout split if your goal is to build muscle. And in this video, I'm explaining why I think the full body split is underrated for building muscle, especially if you don't have a lot of days to dedicate on going to the gym. Now, you already know how this goes. First, I'm going to briefly explain what the full body split is. Then I'm going to explain the 6 factors that go into a truly optimized workout split for building muscle. And lastly, I'm going to rate the full body split on those 6 factors. So with that said, let's get into it. Now, the full body split is a workout split where in one workout day, you can pretty much train any muscle group across the entire body. So one workout day might look like this, starting out with pull-ups for the back, then bench press for your chest, then Smith machine squat for the quads, kind of freaky, some shoulder work, and maybe you finish off with some calves or core. Each workout day is pretty much an open blank canvas, and you can pretty much build your workouts however you want, within reason. So now that you know what the full body split is, let's go into the 6 most important criteria that goes into a truly optimized workout split. And real quick, shout out to Able for sponsoring this video. You can use code PATH to get an extra 10% off your entire order. I like to think of it as the quality of Alpha Elite at the price point of Gymshark. They're clean, comfortable, pretty affordable, and a good value overall. So consider using my code if you want a 10% discount while also supporting my page. It would be much appreciated. Helps me continue to be able to make these videos and deliver them to you. But if not, all I ask is leave a like on this video. That is a very good free way to show support. Let's get into the criteria. Now, the first criteria that goes into a truly optimized workout split for building muscle is going to be it has to fit your schedule. Remember, the workout split is only as good if you can actually commit to the routine. And this is ultimately because the second criteria is that a truly optimized workout split will allow you to train every single muscle group with enough volume across the week. Now, a good rule of thumb is hitting 8 sets per muscle group per week. Now, keep in mind, more sets is generally better. The sweet spot is anywhere between 8 to 20 sets per muscle group per week. You can also include working sets for exercises where the muscle is involved as a secondary muscle group. For example, the triceps on a bench press. But instead of counting it as one whole set, you would simply count it as half a set. Now, the third criteria is train every muscle group twice per week. Evidence has suggested that training a muscle twice per week compared to once per week is advantageous for muscle growth. Now, this makes intuitive sense because you're providing the body a training stimulus more often. In fact, training muscle 3 times per week is probably going to be better than training it twice per week, barring any volume constraints that you might run into, which brings me to the next criteria. Let me take my cover off. Now, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, man, I don't really know how to set up a workout program that will actually fit the criteria as stated, and I haven't even gotten all the way through yet, well, in that case, I highly recommend you apply to my exclusive one-on-one fitness coaching program, where I create a custom workout program, provide you nutrition advice, weekly check-ins, as well as the ability to ask any questions you might have in order to achieve your fitness goals. So, if that sounds interesting to you, definitely check out the link in the description. Here are some transformations from the past. Back to the video. Getting back to the 4th criteria, that is an optimized workout program should try to minimize fatigue when possible. Now, this is extremely important at a longer time horizon where it becomes important for you to manage recovery and make sure that you're able to perform at a high level on a consistent basis. Now, a great way to intuitively explain fatigue is soreness. Ideally, after a workout, by the next time you train that same muscle group, all soreness in that target muscle should subside. So ultimately, trying to limit fatigue when possible and recognizing when you're in a more fatigued state becomes extremely important, because it might not be as obvious as being sore. It might show up as you not making progress on a lift or you actually getting weaker. Criteria number 5 is you should be looking to train close to failure and progressive overload over time in order to maximize muscle growth. This in hand maximizes mechanical tension as well as aims to recruit as much high threshold motor units as possible, which essentially means more muscle fibers are involved in a training sequence. And the final 6 factors an optimized workout program shouldn't be too long. Now, to throw an arbitrary number out there, I would say for most natural lifters, you should cap the workout at around 2 hours. Because let's be honest, you're probably not going to be as focused in your workout once you hit around the 2-hour mark. So now that we understand what goes into a truly optimized workout split for building muscle, let's see how the full body split stacks against these 6 factors. Number 1, the full body split requires at least 2 days in the gym a week. Now logically, if you're training every single muscle group within one workout, you can theoretically get away with going to the gym twice per week and still have a somewhat optimized program, especially if you're a beginner. But realistically, if you're truly trying to optimize your split, I'd recommend 3 to 4 days per week. But nonetheless, the full body split gets an S rating for this criteria because I can't think of another workout split that allows you to train twice per week while still training every single muscle group. Number 2, the full body split does allow you to hit 8 sets per muscle group per week in a somewhat reasonable manner. Now, admittedly, if you're going twice per week, it can be a little bit difficult, but if you bump it up to 3 to 4 times per week, then you can pretty easily hit 8 sets per muscle group per week by just literally doing 2 sets, so 1 exercise per muscle group in each workout day. Now, keep in mind, if you want to train 5 or 6 days per week, I wouldn't recommend the full body split for reasons I'll get into later, but ultimately, the full body split gets an A rating for this criteria. And number 3, the full body split allows you to train every muscle group at least twice per week, and pretty easily because it is the least restrictive workout split in terms of possible exercises within a workout. This shouldn't be an issue if you're structuring things properly. I forgot to rate number 3 if you guys have been paying attention to the grading, but factor number 3, by the way, gets an A+ rating. On to factor number 4. And factor number 4 is the full body split can be good at managing fatigue, but admittedly has some limitations that I will be talking about. Now, if you watch my previous videos, you may be thinking that full body split is like the holy grail of fatigue management. After all, more muscle groups available within a workout means you're dividing the volume across multiple workouts, which means that you're probably not like absolutely hammering one muscle group within a workout and accumulating a bunch of junk volume, which is true. However, we also have to remember that in general, you want to be resting 48 hours before training that same muscle group again. So if you think about it, a 6-day full body split, which is probably going to be like Monday through Saturday, has to be meticulously crafted so that you're not training the same muscle group on back-to-back days. Or else, again, you're not going to be adhering to that 48 hours of a rest requirement. Now, with that said, a 6-day full body split while still adhering to that 48-hour rest rule is possible, but you're pretty much gonna have to split your body in half this way. So imagine, someone just sliced myself over here. But at that point, I wouldn't really even consider it a full body split. It's more of like an anterior and posterior workout split, which might be the topic of a future video. So maybe to your guys' surprise, the full body split gets a B rating for this factor. And number 5, progressive overload can be harder on a full body split. Now, this is where the full body split starts to show another one of its limitations. At face value, you might think the full body split would be good for progressive overload because, again, you're dividing your volume across a week, you're pretty much only doing 1 exercise per muscle group within each workout. So in that case, there shouldn't be much of any junk volume, right? However, this fails to consider systemic fatigue, which in layman terms, you progressively getting more tired as the workout goes on. Now, this might not be too bad on an upper body heavy day. However, if you're training quads, glutes, hamstrings, let's be honest, there's some exercises that's kind of like an absolute nuke underperformance for the rest of the workout. For example, if you start your workout with heavy barbell squats or a heavy deadlift, well, good luck progressing on the rest of your workout, considering that you did really go high effort on those lower body exercises. Now, this isn't as bad as, let's say, on a bro split where you're pretty much accumulating junk volume by the end of your workout, but it is something that you need to be mindful of when you're deciding your exercise order on a full body split, which ultimately means full body split gets a C rating here. Now, number 6, the workouts in a full body split is in general going to be longer than other workout splits. And this is because if you want to reduce the risk of injury, you need to be making sure that you're warming up your entire body. It's just something you can't really get around. It's just inevitable. You should be doing warm-up sets on every single exercise before you even get to your working set. It's not the end of the world, just something to consider. And because of that, full body split gets a grade C. Now keep in mind, if you truly want to maximize muscle growth, you need to be making sure that your diet is also dialed in. Now, a big part of that is making sure that you're hitting your protein intake, which brings me to my protein. I've been working with my protein for pretty much 2 years now, but I've actually been taking their products since I was like 17 years old, back in like 2016. And with that said, you could get 40 to 50% off using code TylerPath. It is also a great way to support my page. It will also be much appreciated. If you want a recommendation, I highly recommend the Lemonade Clear Whey if you want something with water, or the Pumpkin Spice Impact Whey Protein if you want a more traditional protein shake. And before I end this video, let's address the pump. Now, admittedly, on a full body split, you're probably not going to be getting the best pump because you're involving your entire body. But the good news is that the pump does not necessarily dictate how much muscle you're going to build. What's going to be far more important is, one, how hard you're actually training, your effort level. Two, how many sets you're doing, not per day, but per week. And three, what is the frequency? How frequently are you actually training that muscle group? So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Consider using the links below if you're interested in coaching, or if you want to pick up some gym gear or supplements and get a discount. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit subscribe to level up your physique, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.